game day. It is just me and the lead man, Austin VZ, with me this beautiful afternoon, even though it's actually disgusting out in Tallahassee. Uh,
It's not much different up here.
yeah, no, it's been an ugly weekend, I think, for a lot of the Southeast. But we're here. We're here to instant react to Florida State's overtime win. Another overtime win for Florida State, 92-85. They have their streak. They tie I think, the biggest streak in the country in overtime wins, like
Yep.
historically.
Tied first all time in NCAA history with 11 straight overtime wins.
That's
And
absolutely nuts.
second in conference history with 23 straight conference wins at home.
Which one do you think is more impressive, the 23 at home in the ACC or 11 straight overtime wins?
I think both are very impressive, obviously, but 11 straight overtime wins is insane.
That
Because
is
you can look at it
nuts.
so many different ways. Like tonight, or today, this afternoon, they made one field goal in overtime, but otherwise it was 10 made free throws. You can do so
Yeah.
many different things in overtime. It's just a 5 minute sprint, basically. It usually favors a team like Florida State that uses their depth and has so many different guys that can attack the basket.
Absolutely. Florida State improves to 11-3. Florida State beats the Demon Deacons 92-85 after their COVID 19 quarantine that they had for about a week and a half. Florida State's leading scorer is Raekwon Gray with 24 points. We talked about it in the production meeting, but it seemed like he was on a different level than most guys on the court today.
I kind of tweeted it, and I think I'm going to go with it. He plays like a much less athletic early career LeBron, where he's just so much when he wants. And when he's able to hit that mid range jump shot like he hit a couple times this game, he's simply unstoppable. His playmaking, his rebounding, his overall game is so much better than it was at this point last season. He's an NBA player. He absolutely is at this point.
Yeah, he was looking great today. 12 rebounds, 4 assists. Played 37 minutes for a guy his size, too, tying with MJ Walker. It's very impressive. Guy's back in shape. Looks great, greater than ever.
Yeah, and both his points and his rebounds were career highs in a game where they needed him to have his career highs in both of those stats. For as much as Wake Forest was missing in size, they were contending with Florida State. The rebounding difference wasn't anything crazy, even though both of their big men fouled out. It was all Raekwon Gray. Malik Osborne did a great job on the glass as well with 8 rebounds. They really needed Raekwon Gray this game. He showed up. He showed out. MJ Walker was great in the first half. In the second half, I don't know if he was tired, if he started to slip a little bit in focus. He was taking some really bad shots that second half. It was glad to have Raekwon Gray from start to finish going all out. He was 70% from the floor and a perfect 10 of 10 from the free throw line and needed every single one of those free throws.
And I think, too, at the end, I was talking to you during our meeting. I think Malik Osborne really stepped to as a veteran, grabbing those rebounds and keeping in the possession for Florida State. You know, that kind of really cut off the Deacons from making the big time upset at home. Malik was just kind of on a different level. Also, you look at the true freshman, you go to a true freshman, Scotty Barnes, who makes the gigantic layup. That was disgusting there with about .05 left. Was crucial. Was crucial for Florida State.
People won't realize it just because it ended in two different shot types, but that was the exact same play that Florida State ran against Duke in 2012 that got Michael Snare the open three. But
Oh,
instead of the open three, it was a layup for Scotty Barnes. Because that one play, they have so many options. And it was able for Sky to just get downhill. He needs to keep going downhill. I hate when he's so passive. I know someone tweeted it saying, why is he still so passive? It's just the way he is. And you give him the ball with 5 seconds, he has no choice but to score. He
mm-hmm.
can't pass. He only has 3 or 4 dribbles and he has to score. I think that was a perfect scenario for him. Florida State needs him to keep being aggressive. When he's being guarded by Jonah Antonio and some of these guys that are 6'1", he needs to just get down there and attack the basket because they can't stop him. I
Yep.
know he was unlucky in the first half with a couple of in and outs, but they simply can't stop him.
Yeah, the size is a big difference there for him. And being as a true freshman, it's crazy what the difference is for him. But that was great. I love his celebrations that he has. They're just so just so wild. I don't understand what he's doing, but I love it. It's true
He's
passion.
he's disrespectful. Both of his
Oh
dunks, he looked back and waited for someone to get next to him so he could dunk it. It's
yeah,
funny.
I think it's hilarious. He's a funny guy. How about his free throwing? You like to see that get a little bit better once you get in closer into postseason play for sure. For a few
Yeah,
guys.
Absolutely. Both him and Polite. As great of a shooter as Polite is, it's weird that he's a 50% free throw shooter.
Hmm.
You saw it at the end of regulation that it almost cost him the game because he's split his two chances at the line.
Hmm. And I think you
But
saw a little bit of rustiness from him throughout the game too, but
for
that's
sure, and
expected for that long. Yeah.
he was still really good this game. You saw exactly what you were missing while he was out. He was great on ball defense. He had that one turnover on Carter Witt in overtime. He was great from three, 3 of 7 from behind the line. He's such a good player,
Hmm.
and Florida State really missed him those 4 or 5 games that he was out. He was one of 5 Seminoles in double figures. He finished with 12. We already talked about Turk with 24. Malik Osborne had 12. MJ Walker had 14, and Scotty had 13.
Mm,
It's a lot of scoring from a Florida State team that definitely likes to spread the ball around. And 5 players in double figures is really, really impressive.
absolutely. What do you think was Florida State's biggest weakness in this game? Obviously, Jonah Antonio
I
was the
would say
guy that
Jonah
was,
Antonio. That's your weakness right there.
yeah,
23 points.
yeah. Was that that's something that's got to be
I
figured
mean,
out. But then again, he's that's rare for a guy to go off like that.
yeah, like he played really well against Pitt earlier this season. In that game, it was Ismail Masood who went off against Pitt. He was like 8 of 10 from behind the arc against Pitt, but Antonio was right there. He was 4 of 7 from behind the arc. This game, he comes in and hits 7 of 8. He was unstoppable, on fire all game. Whether it was in transition or he would set these little picks right inside the arc, then just pop out, and he would hit it. And when you keep losing track like that, that's the one thing when you're playing a switching defense. People don't know they're switching on to him at times, and they don't realize until the ball's kicked over their head, and you look and go, "Oh, damn it, it's 20."
Hmm.
But outside of him, you know, Dubose had 18. That's kind of expected from him. He's a very good scorer. And then Xavier Williamson had 13. Other than that, nobody really scored for Wake Forest. It was really just Jonah Antonio. Everything else went according to the script.
Yeah, and you saw too. Florida State did find a fix for later on. They were really pressing and making sure that perimeter was on lockdown, and Wake Forest struggled from that last point there, and they couldn't, Wake Forest couldn't make a shot. Defense
Yeah,
really turned the table too. It was much needed because at first it was pretty lazy.
when the defense needed to, they stepped up. You look in the first half in those final 5 minutes and 30 seconds. I think Wake only made one shot, and then same thing for the last maybe 7 minutes of game time, the final 2 minutes of regulation, and the final 5 minutes in overtime. I think Wake only made one or two shots there as well. Those were just a couple free throw chances. When Florida State's defense needed to, they stepped up. They were active hands, high hands, causing disruptions, causing turnovers, and you need to see that for 40 minutes. We can't have these just 5 to 6 minute stretches if they want to have success come March, especially for the tournament. Um, Wake only finished with 14 turnovers. I expected them to be closer to 16 or 17 with a true freshman point guard that was in high school 2 months ago. You'd like to see him have more than what do you have? 3 turnovers? I gotta check again.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
3 turnovers.
yeah, what's funny about this too, in the field goal percentage and 3-point percentage and free throw percentage, both Wake Forest and Florida State were practically in the same margin here, or parallel with one another. But the big difference is here being blocks and steals that Florida State took advantage of.
Yeah, field goal percentages were both about 45%. 3 point percentages were both 48%. Free throw percentage both about 72 to 74%. Fast break points were even. Points in the paint were basically even. Wake Forest actually had more bench points, which is embarrassing. Granted, 23 of those were Jonah Antonio.
Hmm.
And then rebounds, Florida State only beat them by 7. You'd like for a team that has both of their big men foul out, you'd like to beat them on the boards by at least 10.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what else in here. Who else had a pretty nice game for FSU? Obviously Walker.
He was great in the first half. Really, really great in the first half. Smart shots, and even the shots that were tough, he was making.
Hmm.
Second half, he was just taking bad shots. He had that one where he came down the left side, tried to get a foul on Antonio, and just he didn't get the foul call. And I was like, come on, man. He should have had that goal. I think the layup he had at the end of the second half. I think that was a goaltend.
Yeah,
It looked like he hit the backboard first. Um, Still, you'd like to see him take some smarter shots from a senior.
absolutely. Well, now Florida State keeps a 23 game ACC home winning streak now in the Tucker Center, which is absolutely crazy. But incoming now is Virginia, who would love to shatter
But
that streak.
the best team in the ACC. Last time Virginia came to the Tucker Center, I think, if I'm doing my math right, was 2018. Beat
Hmm.
us. We had them most of the game. We're up 10 at halftime. They beat us by 2 or 3. Um, and it's a good team. Virginia doesn't play tonight until 6 o'clock against North Carolina. Hopefully that game goes into quadruple overtime. It's 100-97. We want them just running up and down the floor because Florida State gets to chill on their feet. They don't have to go anywhere for 2 days. Virginia has to play a game at 6 tonight, then fly basically straight to Tallahassee. No recovery. Florida State's going to get a ton of time to recover. That's one thing we talked about with the Louisville game the last time they played on Big Monday. Um, but it's gonna be a dogfight. It's gonna be a huge dogfight. You got Sam Hauser, one of the best players in the conference, the transfer from Marquette, averaging 15 and 7. Jay Huff has really stepped up his production this season. He's averaging 13 and 6 with 2.5 blocks. Then you have Trey Murphy, who we talked about on the podcast last time, who's emerged as their best NBA player. 11.5 points, shooting 48% from behind the line or from behind 3-point range. And then
Mm.
obviously Kihei Clark, who everybody hates because he's 5'7" and just so fast.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a slow game. It's gonna be one of those first to 45 wins. Just because it's the way Virginia plays. They have the slowest tempo in the country by almost 2 possessions a game. It's gonna suck. It's gonna suck to watch, but it's gonna be a dogfight and it's gonna be a must win for both teams.
Yeah, no, we'll have full coverage of that too. What time is that game? That's on Monday night.
Probably 7.
I would think. I'm looking. I'm seeing if there's any times.
But granted, Monday is President's Day, so it may even be earlier.
Yeah, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Number 9, Virginia comes to Tallahassee to face Leonard Hamilton. It's gonna be on ESPN. Thank God, no ACC network. God bless America.
It's definitely not Fox Sports Sun like it was today.
No, a lot of
Why
people.
the ACC network decided they wanted Mercer Duke lacrosse instead of Florida State basketball? Come on, man.
Absolutely ridiculous. So many people had the game blacked out, but luckily this will be straight primetime ESPN. A lot of people are off too, so they'll be able to enjoy the game. And plus, it's a home game for Florida State. Should be a good one in the Tuck. I can't rip ACC Network. I mean, I can't rip our guy, our Hear the Spear alum, EJ Manuel, but at least it's going to be on the ESPN. Thank God.
Right. And I can't stress this enough how big the game this is for both teams. With Florida State getting that 3-game COVID pause, you missed 2 quadrant 1 game opportunities with those road games at Pitt and at Virginia Tech. They need this win against Virginia just to build a resume. Say, hey, we've put a schedule together, even if it's not a lot compared to some of these other teams. They need these wins. If Florida State wants to be a 3 seed or better come March, they need these kind of wins, and arguably to win out the rest of the season. But it starts with beating arguably the best team in the country, or not in the country, in the conference, in
Mhm.
Virginia.
Absolutely. A big one. We're excited for it. We'll be inside the Discord on Monday night. Austin goes in there and gives halftime updates and gives his reaction to the game happening so far. And then we'll hop on here and most likely do an instant reaction to that one, hopefully in favor of a good big time one for Florida State. We'll see if Florida State can bring that home game winning streak in the ACC to 24. We'll see. But yeah, that's practically everything. If you guys want to, we do a podcast weekly on Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. We're currently bringing on a lot of guests lately. We had Vince Williams on 2 weeks ago. We had EJ Manuel on this last week, and we plan on having an NFL guy coming on this week. So if you guys want to, it's called Hear the Spear, and you can listen to it on Spotify, Google Play, YouTube, practically everywhere. So definitely go check those pods out. And yeah, thanks guys for listening in, and we will talk to you guys next week, and most likely after the Virginia game. See you.